During the recent Great Northern Festival, there were a number of sequences during the New Horizons section where the authors had omitted to hide the cursor and the navigation bar, and that's easy to forget how to do that. And so I thought it would be a good idea just to do a tutorial showing how you can set your own new project template. And therefore, by default, when you start a new project, the cursor and the navigation bar will be hidden. So let's start a new project in Pictures to Exe. We can either select the button here, or we can go to File, New, and by default the aspect ratio now is 16:9. We have the opportunity to change that to whatever we want and to give our project a name. So I'm going to call this My New Project Template and say OK. So that's the name of what potentially is a slideshow. Now, one of the first things that I like to do in my slideshow is to have a blank slide to start with, so that gives the audience just that 2 or 3 seconds to settle down and get ready to watch the slideshow. So I'm going to right click into here and insert a blank slide. Now, by default, Pictures to Exe sets the transition at 2 seconds and the slide duration to 5 seconds. Now, I prefer to have this at about a maximum of 3 seconds here. So let's just change that, left click into it and type 3 and click outside the box. So we've now set the duration of this blank slide to 3 seconds. We can leave the transition at 2 seconds, or we can just do away with it altogether. In fact, I think I'm just going to do away with it altogether. Again, left click, type 0 and just click outside the box. So now I have my first slide, which is going to be my template, and this is going to be how it appears. So I'm going to Project Options here, and we can see that the aspect ratio is set at 16:9, which is my choice. For some it may be different. I think there are some who still use a 3:2 format, but I'm sticking with 16:9. You can set your own aspect ratio. If we look at the control panel, there are 2 sections here that we need to make sure are adjusted. First of all, we have the Show the Navigation Bar, which by default is checked, and the mouse cursor, which is Auto Hide. In both of these cases, if the mouse is moved during the slideshow, we will see the cursor for 3 seconds and the navigation bar for 3 seconds. And I'm sure you've seen it, but it looks something like this running across the bottom of the screen. And of course it diverts our audience's attention from our slideshow. So I'm going to cancel that. The first thing that I want to do is to uncheck the Show the Navigation Bar, and then I'm going to Auto Hide and change that to Hide. So that those are the 2 project options that we really should change if we use the standard blank template each time we create a slideshow. And it's easy to overlook these things in our enthusiasm to create a new piece of artwork. So let's just have a look at one other thing as well which we can adjust. Audio template. We have the facility here to convert our audio track to MP3. Now, I try and save all my audio files in a WAV format, which is a lossless form, which means that whatever I do with them within the PC during manipulation at any time, we get a lossless form. However, once we create an exe file, there is no more manipulation on our various pieces of audio, so we can convert the track to MP3, and we have the choice of bitrate. Default is 256 kilobits, the highest is 320, the lowest is 64. I would suggest that 256 is quite adequate. I'm going to set it at 320 just to get the highest rate, but that does mean it's going to keep the size of our executable file down. The choice there is yours, and I'm going to say OK. So now I would like for all of my slideshows to have this blank project start, whereas I have a blank slide to start with. We have a 3-second duration, and we have changed the parameters for the control tab where we hide the cursor all the time and the navigation bar is definitely not shown. So here we go. We're going to save that project. It doesn't matter where we save it. We're going to save as, and I've called it my new blank project. Obviously I've put a space in there somehow or other. That was the name of our slideshow, as it were, because potentially that's what we were doing. And I'm going to save it to the desktop. We can get rid of it shortly. So we've created a slideshow with one slide, and we can make a template from this slideshow as we can with any other slideshow. So we can go to templates, and we want to create a template from this show, and we're going to do that, and we're going to leave the name as my new project template and click OK. We've now got the template. What we need to do is to make sure that that template is used each time we create a new project. So we're going to File and Templates again, and we're going this time to Manage Templates. Now by default, Pictures to Exit has its own blank project. What we want to do is to change that and use the one that we've saved, which is my new project template, and we select that and we can see it's here now. And to make sure that it's used each time we create a new slideshow, use template for new projects and OK. Now I'm going to create a new project, and we're going to call it project 1. This is new. OK. I guess I really ought to look at that differently. Let me just get rid of this here so we know what's happening. Remove slide. Now let's create a new project. I think it's probably going to ask if I want to save. No, I don't. So we're now creating a brand new project with nothing in there at all. You can see that we don't have the option now to change the aspect ratio because we're going to use, or we are using, our template that we created, and we'd set the default to 16:9, and we can call it anything we like, the name of our slideshow, and say OK. And we can see immediately that Pictures to Exit has now inserted as a new project our blank with 0 transition and 3 seconds duration. And if we look in the project options, we can see that the cursor is hidden and the navigation bar is also hidden, and under our audio tab we can see that the projects option is also set to convert our tracks to MP3 for our exe file. So I do trust that this has been helpful and will perhaps make sure that when we create slideshows we don't forget to hide the mouse cursor and the navigation bar. Nothing more annoying than seeing those appear during our slideshows. Hope this has been helpful.